Every day, you essentially pay your dues by doing the harder thing when it's the right thing to do.
Character to me means open to new ideas and differences, viewing honesty and integrity, having kind of incredible work ethic. Those are some of the character components. I scribbled down some notes because I think that this is a really important part. But even character can be as simple as learning from mistakes, right? Like mistakes are an opportunity to grow and improve. And so how are we doing in our culture a really good job, not just having words, but items behind those words in terms of how we're really reinforcing culture. The other pillar is teamwork. We obviously invest a tremendous amount of time in our teamwork. We do that with retreats. We'll do that with more process-related goals than maybe necessarily outcome-related goals. We'll do that. Oh my goodness, we can do, this is not from me, this is from an author, but I love that in teamwork, that love versus accountability. And what does that look like, right? There has to be that love, that positivity, that compassion, that support, but there also has to be that accountability, right? For yourself, for your team, for your institution, for your athletic department. So how are you balancing kind of that love versus accountability? So teamwork, and we're really, really lucky at Denver. We are surrounded by just an incredible support staff, as you know.
Sure.
Fortunate enough to be around some of the best strength and conditioning coaches and sports medicine directors and dietitians and sports psychologists there is around. And I think one of the reasons we continue to stay competitive is just I'm super blessed and fortunate and lucky to be with people who are experts in their field and are cutting edge of what we do and have a passion and investment. And so that all ties into that teamwork thing. It's that shared common language, right? Like we do a lot in our culture to have that shared common language. So how are we helping individuals maintain their individuality, but also work together to achieve a common goal? And so that's a really important thing. I also think that team chemistry and teamwork can be it has a high performance relevance to it. And when you're all working together and you feel proud about, trying to strive for that same goal. And then our last thing is excellence. And, you can go on to excellence forever, but this is Denver's way. And our way is excellence academically and athletically. And I think that's also why we can, have been so fortunate to have a level of consistency, because it's for us the balance of both. How are we going to do high level academics and high level athletics? And so from an academic perspective, we're really, really fortunate. And we just have great resources here. That's, most important. It's the resources, right? And it's the priority registration. It's the unlimited tutors. It's the support taking this class when you're traveling, but maybe waiting till you're not traveling to take this class, balancing that schedule. And, we have to remind them, communication is a skill, and it's a hard skill. Communication doesn't come easy. Everyone learns it in their own way, in their own time. It's kind of like that academic piece. I'm really big in maximize your own academic potential, right? This is the people, next to you. This is, are you doing all you can for you? Everyone learns differently. Some people are more visual. Some people, there's just so many different ways to learn. And I really feel like that too with communication. Everyone grows into that with their maturity, with their critical thinking, whatever that might be. Some people come in and communication is not something they've been taught, from a club gymnastics maybe perspective, or just, it's not even that they weren't taught. Maybe they just didn't use that skill. And then after they're here and we're asking them to use that skill. Hey, we need to know, how are you feeling? What does hurt? Did you get sleep? Were you up till 2 a.m. taking a test? What do we need to know so that we can, we obviously have our big picture structure. It's back to that structure versus adaptability and flexibility, right? We're going to have a structure and we're going to do our best to follow that. But you also have to know that gymnasts are people, everyone's people, right? We're going to have good days, we're going to have bad days. And so are we having that level of communication where we can say, okay, do we need to modify something for you today? What does that look like? And how are we going to do that? So I think it's very important to know your athletes. Coaches don't have a crystal ball for, every single athlete on their team, and so if you can work on that level of communication, and do I think there's a boundary to that? Yes, of course. Right? My younger self would probably be trust. being true to yourself, what works for you, not worrying about what people think of you, or are they judging you, or do they good enough, or everyone has an opinion, right? Like everyone has
Twitter
an
is
opinion.
brutal, man. Gymternet Twitter is brutal sometimes.
Yeah. And, I love people who have a passion for our sport and want to get out there and spread the word and share the information. But yeah, I think you have to really be able to sift through, what is true to you. And, and my style is not going to be for everyone, and vice versa. I mean, I can be a high energy person and I like dancing and I like hugs and I like action, and that's not for everyone, but being true to yourself about that. I also think looking back, not just listening, because I feel like I've tried to listen, but there's a difference, like you mentioned earlier, there's a difference between like really listening and just listening to like say, check the box. And so, I wish I would have obviously continued to really do more of that, like meaningful kind of listening. And, but again, this is why I think you have to be careful, because growth mindset's not to be in a way to make an excuse. Hey, I did something wrong. And now I'm going to use growth mindset as a way to say,
that's the bullet.
But more a growth mindset and a true sense of like, I am okay with our athletes, even myself, even our staff or whoever. Making mistakes is fine. That's part of life, right? That's part of the biggest pieces of success, I think, are gained when you're willing to be vulnerable. You make those mistakes and then but you have to try to learn from them. And you have to try to say, I'm not going to repeat them over and over again. Do you know? And so some of the things I did early, they're good reminders for me of how I've grown up until now, if that makes sense.